Hey, everybody. So happy to see you. Thank you for joining us. I'm with my dear friend Karina La Puma, the famous astrologer and author of many wonderful books. And I I had an incredible miracle happen just recently. The second time a miracle like this has happened to me. And many of you know me as the one who's been doing the Magdalene Moonrise Easter service for the last 14 years. And also, we always do the Magdalene Feast Day. And sometimes people will just assume that I'm going to do it. And when they asked me about it, I said, well, I don't know because I don't do it unless I receive a vision of what it is to do because it's not something that I would have normally done in my life, but it was because I got a vision of it. And the vision came in so clear, so strong, so powerful. And when I received the vision, what came with it was this total confidence that I can do this. And I was excited and filled with the power to carry it out, right? Let's say in the 12 steps program, that when we I forget what step it is, but there's one step that talks about having the power to carry out God's will. So it's I wasn't nothing was coming up this year. So I kind of thought, well, maybe, I'll let it go. And there's been just recently, as of last year, and a lot of women have been stepping up to do the Magdalene feast days. And I'm like, yay, because it's like critical to raise the divine feminine. And, I mean, you have to think about it, folks. We had passed the Equal Rights Amendment. Then we needed three-fourths of the United States to ratify it. We achieved that. What was that? Last year or the year before? I'm not sure. I don't know. We achieved that vision of of getting all three-fourths of the United States to ratify it. But do we have the amendment? No, because we have a Republican Congress and they're not interested in women being paid equally for their equal work, or for them to have equal rights to health care. Um,
Crazy.
Men have no problem getting health care for their reproductive organs, for their organs. And but we have a problem. And anyway, so I had an unfortunate situation happen where I got a very intense pain in my hip, and I ended up at the hospital for Memorial Day weekend, and and they put me on morphine, and I was like, oh my God. So they sent me home. They did all the tests. They couldn't figure out what was going on. Everything looked normal, and so they just sent me home and with loaded up with a bunch of pain medication. And my beautiful healer friends, including Karina's partner, Darren, came forward with meals and support and quantum healing. And I started to feel a little better, but I was still in a lot of pain. So what ended up happening though was I just, when anything really super negative like that happens, I have to go deeper into what's going on. And so I did this meditation and I heard, be still and know that I am God. And so I went into this deep, deep place of just being still. And in that stillness, I hit this sweet spot. I was like, wow. It was like I was floating a little bit. And I noticed I was pain free. And I thought, this is wonderful, delicious. As long as I'm still, right? Don't move a muscle, don't get out of bed, just like sit there and meditate, right? on the stillness. So I did that. And suddenly the doors opened and a floodgate, a download of a vision came through for me of the Magdalene feast day for this year. And it was very powerful and strong because it weaved a thread of many, many things that have been spoken of and shared over the years to create this fabric of 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 the new earth. If you pictured a new cloth, the new cloth that can't be mixed with the old cloth, and the new skin that comes forward, that elevates all boats, that brings peace to everyone. And it's the modeling of the mastery, the divine feminine leadership that has been spoken of throughout the years by different people. And so I was shown to take various pieces of that and weave it all together into an expression of the Magdalene feast day online for you so that we can all bear witness to what it means to be in this full leadership and put together. It's kind of like we've been working, and here's like the new offering that's coming forward that is like really incredible. So anyway, the whole vision came out. I grabbed my notebook and I start writing it out. And I got down to the last word of what was happening in the vision. And as soon as I wrote the last word in the last sentence, dotted the dot, I was free. There was no more pain. I was like, what? There's no more pain in my body. It was gone. And I got up and I started moving around and like all the ways that like, oh my God, I I can't believe it. I'm pain free. And I was like, what? So, I guess for me, I need a 2x4 across my head sometimes because it might have just come if I had been willing to just be consistent with my meditation, but I hadn't been doing my meditation because I was all wrapped up in other dramas. And so it forced me to go into meditation and being in meditation. So the next thing I had to do was, Karen, I need to know when on the feast day we need to do this. And so my beautiful priestess sister, she got out her trusty tool of looking at the time. So we took a really deep dive into looking, and this is what we found has all of the energetic coherences of the elements that we need to uplift to a glorious expression of the Magdalene feast days. So she's quite a major astrologer for how many years and years and years she's been doing this, but she's been on the national scene and written many books. And so
Yeah.
the Magdalene.
So I see the screen and it's a Scorpio rising with Pallas Athena. So we picked 3:30 on the day, the July 22nd. And this is Pacific time, but that's where we'll be videoing from. So Pallas Athena is the feminine logo. So this is the intelligence of the feminine aspect. And she's also in Scorpio. So this is diving deep, going intense. It's so we have this intellectual goddess rising on this moment. And we have a loaded ninth house, which is philosophy and higher learning. And we have the sun, Venus, Vesta, which is intercontemplation, and Mercury. And so, and then we have a moon in Aquarius, which is group endeavor. And the second coming is a group event. So we have that in Aquarius in our third house of communication. So it will be mostly women, I would assume. And this is a time of, it's opposing this Mercury. So what we have to look at what we think and what we feel are a polarity sometimes. And this coming together of this very powerful woman who was, degraded in her life because of the male patriarchal in some way, and yet uplifted by Jesus in many, many ways. She's the apostle to the apostle. So we have we have a powerful seventh house, which is relationship. So third house is day-to-day things. Ninth house is spiritual aspirations, and seventh house is one-to-one relationships. So we need to come together in groups and in relationships. And there's a part of us that is being asked to change. We have a moon square Uranus, and it forms a T square with Uranus as the focal point. And Uranus is the revolutionizing. So I just changed my name, and it's kind of like upgrading my identity. And that's what we all need. It's a different sense. It has a higher feeling of my soul name, and that's what it is. And seeing yourself differently. So we each need to upgrade our identity in some way. That's what this is saying.
Well,
And
from my point of view, from the vision that I receive, what we're to do is to step into our leadership skills and to upgrade ourselves as leaders, because we need divine feminine leaders to be in partnership with divine masculine, not subject to or suppressed by the divine masculine. And the divine masculine is not going to just lay down their power and give it up and say, oh no, we screwed it up, you guys take it over. It's really behooving us to come forward, not to have domination and control over anybody, but to model and be the emanation of the truth of who we are, this love that we are. And then from that modeling, we inspire and share and extend and up level each other, so that we then join with the divine masculine, who's also going through their lessons of learning how to work in collaboration, working how to work in compassion, instead of this misogynistic you know domination and control. And I mean, we're all just standing by and watching these couple of men on the planet are just saying, well, I don't care, I'm going to just go in and massacre large numbers of people. And where's the feminine leadership? Where's the voice of the feminine leadership? You're not hearing it at all. I mean, I very rarely am I hearing it.
it
And
it
and
definitely says stand up to your power this day, this moment that we chose.
yeah,
Because it's an exact sun opposed Pluto. And oppositions are relationship, and the sun Pluto is a power struggle. And not that we have to power struggle, but if you have this new sense of identity, you have to really show that. And it takes a transformational energy. It's like the butterfly, the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. That's very much what a Pluto energy is. It's also crises. And we also have Saturn in the fourth house. So we have been repressed in Pisces. This Saturn in Pisces is like holding on to water. It's like it kind of drips through. So basically, and there's a contradiction in that, but basically there's a changing of how we feel and that sense of personal power to really stand up. So the sun opposition Pluto is saying what you just said about being a leader in standing with men.
Right. Thank you.
And
So,
we have Mars conjunct Sedna. Sedna's the furthest out. She represents spiritual destiny. It's like the moon is your personal self, Ceres is the social emotions, and then Sedna is the collective spiritual. And she is conjunct Mars. So there's an instigation, and her myth was challenging because basically she had to surrender and let go. She was being taken from a wicked husband by her father, and they were both going to die, so the father decided to push her off the boat, and she held on for dear life, and he chopped her fingers. Now it's a gruesome myth, but basically it's saying that as soon as the fingers were chopped, they went into the ocean, and that was the food for the civilization. And this is an Inuit myth, and she became a goddess. So it's very counterintuitive that on the spiritual path, we need to surrender instead of holding on. It's a very powerful thing, and Mars is assertion, drive, and so there's the drive to surrender and trust the divine. What I've been doing lately is surrendering my issues to God and clearing, 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 clearing. I do this meditation of clearing
right.
for,
Yeah.
and that's
And and for me, another aspect of it is surrendering to the truth of who you are. Because our separated self that doesn't want to know ourselves as one with God, as one with the other, wants to keep us separate. And so when we let go of that and allow ourselves to understand we are the energy of life, and the energy that of life that I am, that you see with Karen and me here together, this is the energy of life that brings forth love. And love is the only thing that's actually really real, and is the power that heals, is the power that transforms. And that's why Marianne wrote her book, We Return to Love, that was such a hit, because until we return to that love, and the divine feminine, when she's in her leadership, there are no starving children when she's leading. We're not doing that one. We're not killing the sons. We're nurturing people, we're feeding people, we're caring for each other, we're compassionately listening to our differences and holding space for people and extending compassion and love to them until they grow up, because some people are young souls and they haven't grown up yet. And so it's the maturity of the wise woman that understands that. And so she has some spaciousness for it. But she keeps standing in that love, and she keeps holding that love so that the young soul looks at it and has respect for it and realizes, oh, I like this feeling of nurturing. Anyway,
I'd say commitment to being love is what this chart was saying.
yeah, it takes a
Being
dedication.
love is our true nature, and it is a state of being that it is trusting. You're in the flow. You just commitment to what is the highest good, non-resistance.
Right.
To be a goddess is to love and allow and
Yeah.
accept what is. Resist nothing, no matter what's happening. And when you believe that the universe is a benevolent place, that's what Einstein, big question. Do you believe that the universe is a friendly? And also Byron Katie, excuse me. The big question is, if you believe that the universe is friendly, then everything that happens to you is for a purpose, for you to grow. And if you don't resist and trust and offer it up, then that's your commitment, and to be in your power and to see yourself differently, because we're conditioned. My conditioning was the little one. I was the youngest in the family. Breaking that is seeing yourself differently. Then you can step into leadership. So it's a commitment to love itself, to
Right.
be love.
And also the leadership is not I'm the leader. The leadership is I allow source to lead through me because I understand my connection and my oneness with source. And when source comes through, the vision, what is offered up, it's like, oh, I would never have thought of that. And I think we'll end with this one really quick story
Yeah.
because I think it illustrates it. You know, in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, she talks about for those who seek him and find him. And we have a situation right now where there is a growing rise of white Christian nationalism, and male patriarchy is really rising up and pressing forward that this is who we need to be. And I've been noticing some of the influencers and the YouTubers are literally putting women on in subjective, diminished positions with women. And so all of these suppressive tactics are happening. But this question about, because they say, you know, we have to follow him, right? Jesus is king and Jesus is Lord and all this stuff. And so I asked in a question in my meditation about that. And I dropped in very quietly and just listened. And I kind of let go and even forgot that I asked the question because I reached another beautiful spot in my meditation. And the next thing I heard was, you tell them it's H period, I period, M period. And I went, H period, I period, M period, what is that? H is for heaven, I is for in, and and M is for me. Him is heaven in me. And if I can find that indwelling spark, that divine spark, that aspect of the goddess God quality within me, and connect that and let that guide me and lead me, then I will, like you say, have the eyes to see a benevolent universe. I will be guided to go left when, if I went right, I would run into trouble. And this is what I learned from the pip pain, because I had made a decision. Oh, well, I haven't gotten the vision, so I guess I'm not doing it. So I'm not going to do it, right? And I hadn't gone into the meditation to actually ask, am I to do this? Is this what you would have me do? I forgot to do that. And as soon as I did that, and I went into the stillness with deep listening, and then the whole vision came down and was laid out before me in a platter. And I wrote the last letter of the vision on my notepad. Boom! I was pain free. It's like, oh my God, how could I have forgotten? So
I
anyway,
want to thank you, Christy, for creating these rituals, because a ritual is an enactment and that it brings us together, and there's an opportunity to experience the goddess and the Magdalene love force. And so I highly recommend that you come and experience this event.
yeah, and maybe you and Darren will dance at the end as the demonstration of the unification of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So anyway, do you want to say anything more about the chart that
I
you
just want
can?
to, I just want to really say that I really appreciate that the gathering and the effort of really creating these rituals, because we really need to come together.
Yeah,
We accelerate when we come together, and this is one opportunity.
yeah,
So
exactly. That's so spot on because it's really in the joining and in the gathering that we are all elevated. All of our boats are lifted because we inspire each other. And what are we joining around? We're joining around divine ideas that heal, divine ideas that elevate the soul and the spirit of our world. And that's what our world needs. That's why we're looking and seeing so much insanity, is because we don't have enough of that.
I heard
Going,
this quote that the heart is, it's so heartful, these things. I always go into bhakti and blissed out, but the heart is the mind of the soul.
yeah,
I don't know who said that, but I heard that recently and I really like that. So being in the heart is being with your soul.
yeah,
These experiences open your heart.
yes, exactly. And that's what we need, more open-hearted,
Yeah,
wholehearted
love's
community
all we need.
of people to share and extend that wholeheartedness. So thank you so much, Karina. Tell them people how they can find you on your website. And
I'm just been redoing my website. It's www.soul, S-O-U-L dash source.org, soulsource.org.
all right, excellent.
Blessings. Thank you.
And of course, you can find out about the Magdalene Feast Day at um, www.gospelofmarymagdalene.info. So, blessings. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you, Christy.